Well, today we're adding a new gnome to our collection. Stay tuned and see how fun and easy this project is. All right, I thought I'd start out today by showing you where all the pieces are on my cutting mat before I remove them, so you can see where they're laid out, maybe help you to identify pieces a little bit easier. The top row are 4 back pieces. I have 2 with arms, they're going to go in the very back, and then 2 that we've been using that go in front of those to make our back or our body of our gnome. 3 nose pieces, 6 shoe pieces to make 2 shoes, 6 hair braid pieces, 3 pieces, and those will make 2 braids, 3 pieces for the sombrero brim and 3 for the hat itself. And then these 6 are to make 2 maracas for her to be holding in her hands to shake, to make music. Because last year when we made the Mr. Gnome, he was holding a guitar. So I thought we would add one with maracas. So let me turn the camera off. I'm going to peel all these pieces off my mat very carefully and lay them out on my cutting mat, on my work tray. Now, if I wasn't doing the video, I would remove one set at a time. Like I would remove these 4 and glue them together. I'd remove the 3 nose pieces and glue them together. But because I'm on the video, I don't want to have to go back and forth. So I'm going to remove all these, put them in an order that I can remember what everything is, and then I'll come back and we'll start gluing and talking about where to get the pieces and what the rules are and all that stuff. So I'll be right back. All right, I've got all my pieces grouped together. I've got my glue, and I've got several toothpicks here so that I've got them ready to go. So I'm going to start with these back pieces. Now, the pattern to make this gnome, like all my others, is free to download. The link for it will be in the blog that goes with this video. And to find that blog, just look for the link in the description box below the video. Each time I do one, I give you the pattern. I put it up on Google Drive, and you can download it for free. The pattern will have 3 pieces to it in a file. You'll download a folder, and in that folder will be a PNG file to use with your Cricut or your Silhouette or whatever cutting machine you have. There'll be a text file that talks to you about the sizing for the PNG when you go to use it on your electronic cutting machine, as well as a few hints and tricks that I have picked up over the last year or so that I've been doing these. And there's also a PDF file for those of you that don't have a cutting machine and want to cut these pieces by hand. So that's all there for you to download. Now you can make I did not need glue on the front of her hands. I don't know why I did that. You can download this and make as many of these as you want. You can sell the finished gnomes. I just ask that you don't sell my pattern or give my pattern away to somebody else, because the only compensation I get for the time I spend designing these patterns and coming up with the ideas is when you guys click on my blog or click on the link, click on the video and watch the video, or come up, watch those things. So I just really would appreciate if you would follow the rules and have them go to the blog or go to the video and know how to use the pattern and where to get it. I cut these all out of white medium weight cardstock. That's because a couple of reasons. Number one, I find that a lot of times colored cardstock is not very light fast. And I don't want to go to the work of putting something together and having it fade out and not be pretty in a year or 2. Also, this way you only need 1 package of cardstock. You need some medium white cardstock, which you can find pretty inexpensively. And then you don't have to have all these different colors. It also means only 1 PNG file to make the gnome rather than a different one for each color that's in it. And also, if you can change it to any colors you want and do it however you want. So that's the rules for that. I am going to continue gluing these off camera. I'll set them here on my tray. I might put a weight on them to hold them down, depending on if this looks like it's going to try and warp. And once these are completely dry, because they'll need to be completely dry for the next step, I will come back and we can start painting. So I'll see you then. All right, my glue is all dried, so I've got these on a piece of tape. It's taped down to my work surface, sticky side up. By placing this on the tape, it does a couple of things. It holds my pieces where I need them to be. So I don't have to try to hold onto these little tiny pieces while I paint them. They stay on my work surface where they belong until I take them off the tape. And I have found that when I pull them off the tape, it takes a lot of the excess paint that might pool around the pieces. Otherwise, that stays on the tape. So I am going to be doing some of these in multicolors, especially this one and these maracas. I'm not going to do all the painting on camera. You've seen me paint these many times. We'll talk about how I painted them when I come back. But we'll get started. I've got some bright red. This one is flag red. And I'm going to take a relatively smallish brush, and I'm going to paint from about there. That way she'll have her sleeves be red, and that you can kind of see where the hand is supposed to stop there. Be sure you go around the edges. You may need 2 coats of paint. And I might decide to come back and do a second color on the bottom half of this to kind of represent like maybe an apron or something. I haven't decided. I'll decide that after I get that far. So I am going to go ahead and paint all the pieces. There will be pictures on the blog of each with all the paint colors to show you what colors I used. So we don't have to go through all that on camera. But you can use whatever colors you want. There's a lot of these gnomes online for sale that you can kind of look at to kind of get ideas, inspiration for colors that you want to use on yours. So I'm going to turn the camera off. I'm just going to sit here and paint all of these. If I need to do a second coat, I'll do a second coat. But when the paint is all completed and completely dry, because it will need to be completely dry. I will come back. We'll add some little details maybe to some of the pieces. And then once that's dry, we can start assembly. So I'll see you when this first coat of paint or first layer of paint is done. All right, so my first batch of paint is dry. I painted the braids with a golden yellow. And like I said, there will be photos on the blog post. The hands and the nose are kind of a fleshy color. Red for this, dark green for the shoes. The maracas have yellow on them and then brown handles. And the hat, the sombrero, and the brim of it are both painted with a green. I mixed, and that will all be explained in the blog post. So let's add some stripes. And I've got this orange. This is pumpkin color. And I'm going to open up several of these and have them open. I've got a bright yellow. I think there's enough in the lids. I've got the red I used. And I've got the green that I mixed is right here. All right, now I am going to get some small brushes. That's not a small brush. There's one. And I'm going to start with the orange, and I'm going to add kind of like an apron or a skirt or something on her by adding some stripes. And I'll do 3 of these pumpkin colored stripes. I'm going to add, tip the top of that one with the same color, and then I'm going to take the brush, the handle of it, and I'm going to add some dots. And you can do whatever you want. That's the beauty of this. You don't have to do exactly the way I do it. Do what makes you feel happy. I'm going to take some of the yellow. And I'll probably have to put a second coat on of these colors in order for them to show up over the base color, and that's okay. And I'm going to do yellow right on the top of this. And then I'm going to paint, that's already yellow, so I'm not going to paint that. Let me get some of this green, and I'm just putting something over the green so that it stays wet over here on my board. And let's just put a green stripe there. And I think I'm going to do the top of one of these. And let's get a brush for the red. I've got a variety of small brushes off to my side here. And let's go with, let's see, maybe some red on here and some red there. And then add some red dots. But you could add zigzags, you could add any design you want. It's your project. When you make yours, do what makes you happy. I'm doing what makes me happy. So I'm going to let this dry. I'll come back and add a second coat to probably these stripes and that yellow. And when that's completely dry, because it will need to dry completely, so probably tomorrow morning, I'll come back and we'll start gluing this together. So I'll see you then. All right, all the paint is dried, so now I'm going to lay out my pieces. And I've just pulled off the pieces I'm going to glue right now in this step off. The rest I have left on the tape. That way they don't run away on my worked surface at all. So I'm going to kind of guess where I want these pieces. By laying them on the tape, I can make sure that they are exactly where I want them. And then I can, and that they're straight, they're the way I want them to be, and they won't move around on me. So I'm going to put glue on the back of this. I'm putting it on the back of the hat. Got the braids laid out where I want them. That there. Then I've got the nose, and the nose needs to go in now just in case there's any glue oozes out from under that hat, because it's a pretty tight fit. If glue oozes out and gets dried, it'll be hard to get the nose in place, but if it's not dried, it'll help to hold it in. It's sticking to my fingers. Come on. And we're going to take the brim of her hat, and I'm going to spread glue over the back of it, and then line that up. And I'm going to let this sit right here for about 5 or 10 minutes, just so that this stuff doesn't shift when I go to add it to the rest of the gnome. So when this glue has time to set up, I'll come back and we can finish putting her together. All right, that glue has had some time to set up, so let's go ahead and get her put together. Whoops, I'm going to put a little glue at the very tip of the body piece, and then on the backs, kind of the top back of the braids, because those are the places that will touch. And my hands are shaking again. What's new? All right, now I'm going to take the maracas. I'm just going to dip the handles in the glue and kind of put one out like that. Same with this one. Just come on. I missed. Then we need a little bit of glue at the bottom. And I think the green stripe I painted is going to be entirely covered with her shoes. Oh well. Now, when you guys are doing yours, you won't have to be doing this on camera. You can take your time and you can make a more detailed design than I have time for. But because of trying to keep under camera and keep this as simple and as quick as possible to get it filmed and get it up for you guys to see on schedule, I have to go kind of quickly for this. So this glue will need to dry until it's no longer cloudy. If I was to put a clear finish on, which is our next step, over this this glue, it would stay cloudy under the clear finish. It would never clear out. So I'm going to let this dry. Once this is dry, we'll put a coat of clear finish on, and then we can see how she looks in front of the dollhouse. All right, so the glue is completely dry now, and I did touch up my yellow paint. In retrospect, I'm wishing I would have used a different orange. I had wanted to use my bright orange paint instead of this pumpkin color, but I couldn't find it because I had forgotten that I had it in a bin with another project. So next time, if I ever do a combination like that, I'll use a brighter orange. But now I am just going to put a coat of satin Mod Podge. You can use any clear finish, but I do recommend that you put a clear finish on. It not only makes it look more finished and it just looks nicer, it brings the colors out better, but also it will help to hold everything together. It helps those layers to stay together so that they look like one piece instead of a bunch of layers of cardstock. And when this is dry, I will flip it over. I will put a coat of Mod Podge on the back because I do like to paint the back of these with Mod Podge or a clear finish. It makes them a lot more durable. That way, if they get banged around in storage between now and when I want to display it next year, it's less apt to get damaged. Just be sure that you put a thin coat of Mod Podge on because Mod Podge does have a nasty habit of staying sticky if it's a thick coat, and I do need to retrieve, that hair off of there. I was going to blame it on my brush, but I believe it's one of my own. Okay, I am going to let this dry, and then I'll meet you at the dollhouse where we can see what she looks like with last year's Mr. Gnome. I'll see you there. All right, there is the new gnome alongside of Mr. Gnome that we made last year. I think they look like they're ready to have a party. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Be sure and check the blog post for photos and more information, as well as the link to download your own copy of the pattern to make the gnome. If you enjoy my videos and haven't subscribed, I encourage you hit that subscription button and the notification bell so you know when I put up a new video. Thank you very much for watching today, and I will talk to you next time. Bye!